Hey cousins, happy Tuesday. Today is a special episode that I want to dedicate over to my friends and cousins over in Israel. I'm actually recording this just a few days before you guys are actually seeing this because I am in Nashville right now as you're watching this. But the breaking news from last night was the fact that Israel and Iran are just full blown going at it right now. And, by the time that this episode comes out, there's probably going to be more news and more information on it. So I'm not going to go too heavily into it. But what I will say is that do not confuse the regime with the people. What Israel did is they went and had a very precisely targeted attack on the regime. You can even see the images where they were so precise that their missile even went into the bedroom of the person that they were going after, because the regime, the IRGC, they are not the heroes of Iran. They are the oppressors of Iran. They are the ones that are making Iranians miserable. You can even see videos online of people in Iran who are celebrating the fact that these terrorists are being eliminated because they want to be a free country that no longer has to deal with these terrorists running and just wreaking havoc over there. You have to understand that Israel really had two options here, because going up against Iran is inevitable at this point. They're either going to go up against an Iran that is equipped with nuclear weapons and thousands of ballistic missiles, or they're going to go up against Iran that does not have nuclear weapons or a bunch of ballistic missiles. So Israel did what Israel had to do. They handled their business, and know that this does not mean that American troops are going to be stepping foot on Iran anytime soon. What it means is that Israel is taking matters in their own hands, and they're doing what they need to do to be proactive against the threat rather than allowing the threat to come to them. But all that to say, this episode is a more lighthearted episode. I don't want to go too much into the heavy stuff. I want to talk about the 7 most frequent questions that I get asked as somebody who is a Black American Christian who goes to Israel often. There's so many frequently asked questions, and I just want to sit here and go through the top 7 that I get, and I hope that this encourages you to go and see the motherland of Israel. Y'all know the vibes. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Welcome to Respectfully. So question number 1 that I always get about Israel: how much do they pay me? Not a shekel. I wish. Because here's the thing: is y'all love to be like, oh, you get paid by Israel. I wish I would cash the check. I would. I really just genuinely love that place. And it's actually funny. I have a friend that's there at the time of filming this, my good friend Kayla. Shout out to Michaela. She is enjoying it there so much. And she went there because she saw one of my videos that I posted just talking about my time there. And it was like finally the moment for her. She goes, you know what? I love history. I love God. I'm a Christian. I'm a Black woman. I'm going to go. And she decided to go. And she has had an outstanding time. And while I would say unfortunately, but really it's fortunately, because she's okay, obviously, she is being able to be there to witness first all the beauty of Israel, and then now the chaos that is happening over there with this feud with Iran, where she sees like, wow, like she's having this amazing time, meeting these amazing people, having the time of her life, and then suddenly she realizes, oh wait, there's a constant existential threat over here. So I really expect Michaela Montgomery to be one of the most outspoken voices for Israel when she comes back, because I've been staying in touch with her, and I know she understands why I love it so much. Now, on a serious note, and just to clarify, no, I don't get a shekel from anybody over there. But the number 1 question that I get on a more serious note is, what is the vibe like? Or I shouldn't say that's the number 1, but it's one of the 7. What is the vibe like in Israel? Israel is the most fun, chill, laid back place that you ever could go. You meet the most incredible, beautiful people. Like, I cannot emphasize enough, like, you will see the most 10 out of 10 gorgeous people in Israel. Now, the thing is you have to remember, Israel is constantly dealing with an existential threat, and that really fosters a sense of community there, where you have all these people from all over the world who have moved there, plus natives who understand how sacred the land is. So these people aren't worried about anything petty. They're not worried about petty drama or beef or anything like that. They are wildly friendly and helpful because they know what a serious issue can look like. I hit up one of my friends. I was like, hey, what are you guys doing today? This is on Independence Day. Shout out to Michael. And he's just like, come on through. We're having a nice little pregame to an event. And then we went over to a lake and just went and had drinks and enjoyed ourselves at a lake. Like, this is the vibe there. Like, just so chill, so fun. This was in Tel Aviv. Now, these deep neighborly values just go so far. It's actually funny. 2 times I got lost while I was there recently. There was one time actually on the way to that rooftop where I accidentally walked into the wrong person's house, and I just looked him right in the eye and I'm like, oh, hey. And then he goes, hey, what's up, dude? As I just walk into his living room. But he was just like, you need help finding your way? And he pointed me in the right direction. Similar thing happened. I was trying to go to my homegirl, my cousin Haya's house. Shout out to Haya. I was trying to go to her house. And mind you, this was like Shabbat time. So it was late at night. I couldn't find where I was going. And I met this random girl, like as I'm walking through an alley, and she heard me on the phone saying that I was lost. And she goes, oh, I'll help you. Just no fear, no threat. Like, no, everybody there, they respect each other. They help each other. They go out of their way to help each other. She didn't know me from a can of paint, but she walked me several blocks down the street just to help me get to this Shabbat dinner. That's the kind of community that you have there, the kindest, sweetest people. And let it be known, every time I got anywhere, I was having a time. Every time I'm hanging out with Haya, or my good friend Liz Kennedy was there, Rudy, Edan, all my friends that were there, we were getting down. We were dancing. I was cutting a little rug. This is when I got to Rudy's house. Shabbat was over. The shalom was here, honey. Okay, that is the vibe. That's the vibe all the time. And, I love it there so much. The Israelis, they check on their neighbors. They share meals. They always, always, always make sure you are more than welcome in their home for a Shabbat dinner, for holidays, etc. And for someone like me who, low-key lives a bougie, pretentious life here in LA, someone like me who, don't judge me. Don't judge me, but I like an Uber Black. I like extra legroom whenever possible. I like some of the more, tangible things because I worked hard to get it. I sure didn't have it growing up. But there's something about going there where it's just like you immediately don't care about anything. You don't care about a brand. You don't care about the Uber. You don't care about anything. You just want to go meet friends, dance in the street, and have such a good time. This is actually a clip from the first time I went to Israel. And I remember just like, I don't remember if they were celebrating an engagement or what, but it was just a party. You go anywhere in the streets. Most of these people don't even know each other, mind you. Like, people just meet each other and embrace each other, and it is an incredible place to be. This is why it's been ranked the happiest place to live, or one of the happiest places to live in the world for many years over. Back in 2023, Israel was ranked the 4th happiest place in the world to live, according to the Happiness Report. And that was based on 2020 to 2022 data. Then, after October 7th, you would think with them in this heated, disgusting war, you would think that would drop significantly, but no. They only dropped to 5th in 2024 and to 8th in 2025, with young adults reporting strong social connections, the resilience driven by community, etc., as why it was such a happy place to be. And just for perspective of that, America in 2023 was ranked 15th, in 2024 ranked 23rd, and in 2025 ranked 24th. So Americans are unhappy compared to Israelis who are literally fighting for their lives. And, part of it is everybody there has such a sense of patriotism. It's required in Israel to serve in the military, serve the country for 2 years when you're about 18 or 19 years old. So everybody there really loves their country, and it shows. Patriotism makes people happy. And they love tourists because they know that tourists are who keep the economy afloat over there. So they make sure that you are more than welcome and more than taken care of whenever you get there. Now, I would say probably one of the most frequent questions that I get is it safe to go to Israel? Now, obviously, I'm not going to lie to you, it's a war. So there's certain risks that you do take when you're there, but more often than not, especially if you're in the major cities or in Jerusalem is the most safe of all the cities. But if you're out there, you're safe. There's no reason to feel like you're under constant attack there, even though there are constant threats and you do always need to be conscious of your surroundings, the security there is no joke. Because first of all, you have the Iron Dome that is intercepting majority of the missiles that are coming through. So whenever people are sending missiles over, they're being intercepted, again, more often than not. And when you're walking through Israel, something that intimidates people the first time that they're there sometimes is they'll see IDF soldiers everywhere, because the IDF, they're there to actually protect you. They're there to deter any type of threat from happening. And here's here's a clip so you can see like just a visual of what the Iron Dome looks like. Like the Iron Dome does not play. The Iron Dome is handling business. And we have all type of content on that at PragerU.com that teaches you about the history of the Iron Dome. Now, with the security there, it's very visible. You have checkpoints there, you have the IDF soldiers there, and they might look intimidating because they can whoop you behind if it comes down to it. But they are there to keep you safe. They are not there to make you feel like you're intimidated. The bag checks, all that kind of stuff, those are there to keep you safe. Okay, because you have to remember, the IDF fights because they love the people behind them. The Hamas and the terrorist groups and all of these enemies that Israel have, they fight because they hate the people in front of them. That is the difference. Okay. And the sirens and the bomb shelters, it's a part of life there, but they're well managed. The bomb shelters are clean. People always know where they are. And I've been there 4 times. And fortunately, by the grace of God, I've never seen missiles. I've never seen even missiles get intercepted. I've never had to go into a bomb shelter. I've never heard the sirens in an emergency. None of that. I've been fortunate because, again, it's not a 24/7 thing, but there are times like now where my friend Kayla is visiting there and it is something that's going on, but she's been very vocal about how safe she feels there. There's something about the blood of God, the blood of Jesus when you are there that just really takes over you and makes you feel extra safe and protected when you are out there. And I'm really happy that she still feels safe and like she already wants to go back because I'm going back to Israel in August and she already wants to go back with me because she loves it there so much, even with all of this. Now, when I went there, I want to say, if not the first, the second time, shout out to Marissa Streit, the CEO of PragerU. I remember she said to me, and I thought she was kidding, but she was completely serious when she said that, well, I asked her, is Israel safe, especially after the war? And she said, even during a war, you are safer in Israel than you are in most major cities in the United States. And I'm not kidding. For example, Tel Aviv's violent crime rate is about 2.3 per 1,000, or sorry, that Tel Aviv's violent crime rate is about 2.3 per 100,000 people compared to Chicago's, which is 617 per 100,000 people per the 2024 FBI data. So like the drastic difference in that range tells you a lot. You don't have widespread gun violence or gang issues or anything like that over in Israel. They're not ghetto like we are here. The streets feel safe at night, even for solo travelers. You will see so many young women just traveling like by themselves at night, not afraid of being raped, not afraid of threats or being robbed or anything like that. You will see young, petite, gorgeous girls not afraid of anything. If I saw a young girl walking the streets in LA, I'm either going to assume you're homeless, a prostitute, or you just lost your mind, girl. Because what are you doing walking by yourself out here? Okay. And that's coming from somebody who does walk with me. I don't walk without security these days, child, or at least some pepper spray or my 2-piece. But out there, you don't have to worry about any of that. And, you know, the community is just so behind you, so just ready to protect you. And the military, like everybody there having the military background, it's like, you don't want to F around and find out over there. Like if you are the threat out there, trust everybody's going to be jumping in to help you because that's just not something that goes on down there. Israelis are proactive to threats, not reactive. They are all about safety and they're very trained on the spot to come together as a collective shield for you and all of their loved ones. Now, the third question I get, and one I'm really excited to talk about, is do they like Christians there? A lot of people have this very bizarre narrative that they don't like Christians over in Israel, and that could not be any further from the truth. First of all, there's such a celebration of Christianity over there. You have millions of Christians who visit Israel every single year for whether it's events or just to see the holy sites or just to go there. And there's a reason for that. It's the origin of all of our... Now, why would y'all play that clip right now? Me pulling up on Santa. I have beef with Santa Claus. It's a long story. I don't... Listen, me and Santa Claus, we have beef, but I'm going to keep that between us because we're working it out. We had a nice discussion after I got done beating on that door, chat. But there's thousands of years in history when you go over to Israel. Like that's truly the motherland. And it's kind of wild because you go there and it's like the Bible just comes to life. Like I will honestly say like my faith was certainly not at its strongest the first time I went there. And I was just, I don't know, I was just going through a lot. I was figuring things out, figuring out how deep my walk with God actually is. And suddenly I go there and it's like, wow, this is real. This isn't like the Bible isn't just like a fairy tale book, which I never thought it was, but a lot of people do. But when you go there, you really start to realize just how deeply rooted Christianity is to literal history. Okay, you walk thousands of years back in history when you go there, especially in places like the city of David. You go to the city of David, you walk through where biblical heroes like King David and Solomon lived. They bring the scriptures to life in such a tangible way, because sometimes you might even find an old ancient coin from the times that they were there. You'll find all these cool things and these things that have been so incredibly preserved over there. And, one of my favorite in City of David, if you don't know that story, there's all types of ancient ruins there, like Pilgrimage Road, which I'll get into, Hezekiah's Tunnel. I'll go through more of these in just a second. But when you talk about the Old Testament, the OG Jerusalem, because there's the modern city, there's the old city behind the Western Wall and everything, and then there's the OG city of David. And the city of David was conquered and buried upon over and over and over. So there's so many layers of centuries of empires of all this different stuff that's buried on top, and they're slowly starting to be able to dig underneath. But there's a certain group of people that don't like you to dig over in the city of David, because every time they dig, and the more they dig, the more they find things that are Jewish and Christian. But no shade, all tea though, all tea. But when you explore these sites, it really deepens your spiritual journey, because it shows you just how deep the roots are. Now, Pilgrimage Road was one of my favorite places. So can we pull up that photo of me on the steps? So a cool story about this place is it's actually not fully open to the public, but I got some connections out there, Chad. The Pilgrimage Road, also known as the Step Street, is a 2,000-year-old limestone pathway in Jerusalem, particularly in City of David, that was used by Jewish pilgrims to ascend from the Pool of Siloam to the Temple Mount during festivals like Passover. Now, as you would guess, Jesus even himself has walked on these steps many, many, many times. And archaeologists are excavating it horizontally through this subterranean tunnel beneath the Silwan neighborhood, using fiber optic cameras and steel supports to preserve the modern area above, because above all these tunnels, it's a whole neighborhood. And they didn't want to have to displace these people, so they are digging underneath in such a cool, intricate way. And it's about 300 feet. There's about 300 feet left to uncover. And every time I go back, I make sure I go, because it's so incredible. And how it was actually discovered was back in 2004, a sewage pipe burst. And anytime you have to dig in Israel, you have to have archaeologists there. And as they were digging to find this pipe, they hit these stone stairs, and it prompted bigger excavation, which then ended up helping them realize, oh wow, like these are the steps. These are the stepped street, or yeah, these belong to the Step Street. This is the Pilgrimage Road, which is, again, so incredible. It's going to be fully open to the public pretty soon. Then you have places like, and I'm going to say a lot of these wrong, don't come for me. Y'all know I try my best. You have the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. How do you say this?
Sepulchre.
Sepulchre. Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where Jesus's tomb is. You can go inside of there, and you can literally see where Jesus's tomb is preserved. You can also see where Jesus's crucifixion happened, and at the resurrection site. Like, that is as holy as it gets in my book. Like, you don't get any closer to the Word of God than that. Then you have the Church of Nativity. That's a Bethlehem Basilica marking. Bethlehem Basilica mark. I'm saying all these incorrectly. Don't come for me. Y'all know the vibes. A Bethlehem Basilica marking the church. Miss Rodriguez, Bethlehem Basilica marking the traditional birthplace of Jesus. I should put phonetic notes on my little outline here just to help me through. But this is where Jesus was literally born. So put some respect on its name. Maybe I need to put some respect on its name. But you know what? This isn't even the language it was all in back in the day. So don't try it. Don't try coming for me in the comments, y'all. But then you have the Sea of Galilee, which I have been to, I think twice, maybe at least once, maybe twice. Love the Sea of Galilee. It's a freshwater lake where Jesus performed miracles like walking on water, and where he called so many of his disciples. And let me tell you, it is so gorgeous. Like, to say it's beautiful is such an understatement. Like, it's such a pulchritudinous area that you have to go see. There's just such a sense of peace when you get there that will bring you to tears, as someone who loves the Word of God. You also have Capernaum, probably saying that incorrectly too, but it's this Galilee fishing village known as Jesus's ministry base, with the synagogue and Peter's house ruins. Then you have Dominus Flevit Church. I have an image of me inside of there because I went there for the first time when I was there just a few weeks ago. This is a Jerusalem church on the Mount of Olives, commemorating Jesus weeping over the city's future. And again, like, you hear these stories when you're there, and you get yourself a skilled tour guide that knows the story like the back of his hand, and they really just bring it all to life for you. And I get emotional when I look at some of these pictures because I just think of the depth of the peace that I felt when I was there. You also have Via Dolorosa. This was a path in Jerusalem that traced Jesus's journey to the cross, and it's marked by stations where you see where Jesus fell to his knees. You see where his face was wiped. You literally can walk down the exact same path that he took his journey to be crucified. You have Mount Zion. That's a Jerusalem hill housing significant Christian sites like the upper room of the Last Supper. 10 out of 10 recommend going there. And you also have I'm really going to say this one incorrectly. The Garden of Gethsemane.
You're all good.
I'm trying. Trust me, I loved it there. I took great pictures while I was there, but I don't know how to say any of these.
I'm pretty sure we both say things wrong sometimes with this. It's like we're doing our best.
I'm doing the best. At least I'm doing the best I can with what I've got. Okay. This is an olive grove at the Mountain of Olives where Jesus prayed before his crucifixion. So 10 out of 10 recommend going there. And the Bible calls for us to support Israel. You have Genesis 12:3, where it says, I will bless those who bless you, when referring to Israel. You also have Psalms 122:6, which urges praying for Jerusalem's peace. So as a Christian, we are called to protect that land and to know that Israel is the Holy Land, tied to Jesus's life and prophecy, and supporting Israel aligns with the faith in God's covenant. The next question that I get so often is Israel segregated? Which to me was always just such a weird conversation because I don't even know where that comes from. People try to say that there's this apartheid that's happening over there, but that doesn't even make sense. Y'all don't even know what apartheid means, clearly, because Israel has a 20% Arab population that votes, that serves in Knesset, that has access to public services. So by definition, it is not an apartheid. And people will bring up the Muslim quarters. Well, the Muslim quarters, it's kind of like how we have Chinatown, Koreatown, Little Italy. The Muslim quarters is a concentrated area where a lot of Muslims are and their culture is. And it's cool. I visit there every time I go to Israel because it's nice to go there and learn about, different elements of their culture and experience that as well. And unlike apartheid South Africa back in the day, where blacks were denied citizenship, Palestinian citizens of Israel have equal legal rights. And yes, there's a little bit of tension. First of all, y'all have tension in your bloodstream. Y'all have tension with people over sports teams. Y'all have tension because your friend has an Android and you don't like that the text messages are blue. And I understand that too. So yes, there's a little bit of tension. Of course there is. Of course there is. That doesn't mean that there's widespread racism. Okay? That's just corny. But when you're there, no one's going up to you being like, what's your race? Tell me your whole ethnicity, yada, yada, yada. Tell me your background. And then judging you. No, like, they judge you based on the content of your character, not just your DNA. And, the West Bank checkpoints are for security, not racial segregation. And it's due to past terrorism. Gaza has blockades in response to Hamas's rocket attacks, not any kind of ethnic bias. You have all sorts of mixed communities over in Israel. Again, you have some that are more concentrated with all Jews or all Arabs, but you have also many that are completely mixed where everybody and anybody can live there. I could move there tomorrow if I wanted to, and they wouldn't even ask me what my religion is. Okay, they have shared spaces, they share the mall, they share stores, they share all type of tradition and history. So no, it's not segregated. You have the Arabs there, the Druze, the Jews who work together in hospitals and schools and businesses. It's just such a weird, corny narrative when people try to ask me, is it separate or segregated? And in addition to that, one of the more common questions is, do they like black people in Israel? Now, I want to show you my homegirl, Ashira Solomon, her looking for apartheid. This was just a few days ago, mind you. I know that's right. Sure, you better work. Shout out to black folk. Shout out to Black Jews. Okay. They love Black folk over in Israel. I think it's so hilarious because y'all really had me convinced when I went to Israel the first time that it was going to be all white people. But like I always say, it is 50 shades of brown over there. And there are so many Black people there who are baffled by the narrative that they don't like Black people in Israel. Like, that's so far from the truth. Israel is a massive melting pot. You have Ethiopian Jews, Mizrahi Jews, African Hebrew Israelites. You have the Igbo Jews. You have all these different Jews that are there. Okay. And you have asylum seekers there. You have currently 81,000 Ethiopian Jews that live in Israel, with over 38,000 being born there, showing that there's just this deep integration in the culture there. Excuse me. Now, mind you, there are so many efforts to bring back Black Jews because there's also this weird taboo conversation about the fact that there's a lot of Jews that were Black that were exiled just like every other tribe of Judaism. And a lot of the Black Jews, there have been so much effort to bring them back. There was Operation Moses in 1984 and Solomon in 1991, where they rescued Ethiopian Jews from war and famine and brought them over to Israel. Okay, they have a full commitment to every Jew, regardless of your skin color, because they really don't even pay attention to race like we do here in America. I really feel like people don't understand how American-centric that perspective of race is, because other countries think that it's very weird how we break down race here. It's very much a social construct. But no, they do so much to bring Black Jewish people back to Israel, just like they do with every other tribe. Shout out to my friend Rudy Rockman. Actually, he does some of the coolest work I have ever seen. His Instagram is, I believe, Rudy in Israel, and he does remarkable Rudy_Israel. He does remarkable work going all over Africa, connecting Jewish tribes all over Africa back with Israel, making that pipeline so that they can come back more easily, and just making sure that they're integrated and have everything that they need. He has a really cool project that's coming out soon that I'll be sure to promote as soon as it's out. But then he's done work in Nigeria. Like, you have to go hear his story and how he was arrested in Nigeria because, if anything, these African nations don't want people from Israel helping bring back people to their roots. So he's doing the Lord's work, truly Hashem's work. And there's a lot of people that are trying so hard to make sure that Black people feel safe and at home. Every time I go there, I could show you a whole compilation of people. Every time I go to Israel, they say to me, "Welcome home," because it is the motherland for everyone. Not the musty people, but everyone who's not musty. And you have Black, and then you have, just my own personal experience there. Like, when I go there, I've never had people mistreat me. If they bump into you, that's because that's the Israeli way. Nobody says slicha over there. Okay. Slicha is how you say excuse me. You would never hear that over there. But everybody, they love you down. They just don't care about, pettiness. They don't care about skin color like that. Okay, Black Israelis and Jews laugh at the anti-Blackness narratives because, again, that is such a Western projection. That is people from America wanting to try to make everything equated to what it's like here, and that it's just not the case. Another question I get often is Israel too woke? Now, here's the thing, is Zionism, to be honest, is objectively a bit progressive. When you look at the history of Theodore Herzl and his more progressive views, but the thing is it makes much more sense out there when you consider the deep refusal of acceptance and tolerance that they're surrounded by. So, like, Tel Aviv, for example, hosts one of the world's largest pride parades with over 250,000 attendees back in 2024. And the thing is they're not nasty like we are here. And I shouldn't even say we, because I ain't part of that nastiness that's happening over in West Hollywood. It's a very different vibe over there. Over there, it's really a celebration of love. It's a celebration of peace. It's a celebration of tolerance and freedom. Emphasis on the freedom. Over in America, it's become this heavily commercialized, over-sexualized, dare I say perverted, just excuse for a cash grab. And over in Israel, it's a very different situation because you're surrounded by nations over there that will literally behead you if you are a gay person. And, as someone that's conservative and with traditional values, I still don't ever think that there should be a nation that's doing something as barbaric as that. So when I see what Israel is doing and how they are becoming like a safe haven and a beacon of light for people in LGBT relationships, it creates a safe space in the Middle East. Over here, it's like that same sentiment feels woke. It sounds woke, but no, it's a very different sentiment over there, because here Americans pretend to be oppressed. Over there, people are actually oppressed in the surrounding countries. Over there, people really cannot live their life. People can't love who they want to love. And I don't think that any good-hearted person, especially a Christian person, wants to see someone be persecuted because of their sexuality. So over in Israel, I don't think that the Western perspective should be put on the different celebrations that they have there. And, I get why people struggle to see that, but it's just the reality. Okay. It's not just the weird cash grab that it is here. Now, the final question, and this one I don't get asked about enough, I wish y'all asked me about it more, is the turn up real? Israel is globally renowned for their nightlife. As we talk about the pride festivals that they have there and how much fun people have there, you can't talk about or even if you don't want to go to any of that, trust me, there's plenty of fun things that you can go to over there. They're globally renowned for their nightlife. Shout out to Kulialma. Kulialma is one of my favorite clubs out there. They have the most insanely fun clubs out there. Like Kulialma, for example, it's 3 different rooms. All 3 rooms have a completely different vibe. One is like modern pop rap hits where you can dance, and people actually dance at the club out there, which I miss so much. You have one room that's like 80s to 2000s, maybe 2010s, just like all sing-along bangers. No filler songs, no weak songs that are deep cuts in someone's album that nobody knows about. It's all bangers. And then you have like the EDM techno as well. Also, shout out to Shalvata. I have a clip here of Shalvata when I was there for 4th of July. They celebrate 4th of July harder in Israel than we do here. Okay. So many other fun clubs out there like Jimmy Who, Rabbit. Like I can't emphasize enough. If you like to go to the club is waiting there for you. And it is lit every single day of the week, because every night people are out in Israel to like 5 a.m. And except for the Jewish people and like the more religious people, they don't go out on Shabbat, which is Friday night and Saturday night. But of course, that's when the Americans go out, and that's when either the secular people or people from other nations go out. So literally every day of the week, you will find a great time all night long if that's your vibe. If that's not your vibe, they also have amazing wine tours out there. I went to some of the most beautiful wineries in the world. Making wine is one of the oldest professions in the world, and started over in the motherland, and you will find some of the best wineries ever over in Israel. I cannot recommend that enough. The food tours are insane. There's food there from every culture that you can possibly think of, and so many cultures that you've never heard of. And it's healthier there, so you won't leave with your back being big like you would if you went on a food tour here. Like if you go over to the Shuk, honestly, one of my favorite places in all of Israel is the Shuk. It's called the Yehuda market over in Jerusalem, where it's basically this massive farmers market where, again, you get food and spices and drinks, and like everything comes with the show. It's just amazing. And then at night they push in all the chairs, push in all the tables, and then it's just a massive party where people just network and mingle and just have a good time. Everybody's guard is down, and it's just amazing. During the day, you can go hike. You can go to Masada. You can go to the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea has some of the best spas in the world. Your skin will thank you afterwards. I highly recommend going over there and just experiencing that. Just make sure if you have a cut, I don't think you should go in there, and do not under any circumstance let that salty water get into your eyes or your mouth. But if you're wondering how people float in the Dead Sea, it's because there's such a heavy salt content in the water that it actually elevates you and makes you float upward. And it's just such a cool out of body experience I wish everybody could have. Oh yeah, there's me vibing. I was chilling. You can tell me nothing out there. I walked away black as I could possibly be, though. You can tell in that photo I was blickety black. I was Black Lives Matter in that photo. See, okay, I wasn't too bad. Well, actually, that was the beginning. By the end, I was blackety black. Shout out to Around the World. Our PragerU Kids magazine had to take that out there for the culture and reenact the iconic photo where people hold the newspaper while in the Dead Sea. And there's comedy shows there. Comedy is a huge thing in Israel, because when you have all these existential threats, if there's one thing you want to do, it's to laugh. So there's so many funny comedians over there. I've met so many of them personally that I absolutely love. And besides that, there's always a festival. There's always a celebration. There's Purim, which is basically like their Halloween, just less demonic. Going there for Hanukkah is a goal of mine one day. And the jazz festivals, the music festivals, there's always, always, always something going on over there. And all that to say, yes, the turn up is real. I hope you guys appreciated this video. I do it for the people. I do it for my cousins over in Israel because I really do love that place. And I feel like it's one of those places that is so misunderstood with some of this. Like, those are all people I just hung out with in Israel. I knew Liz Kennedy before, but these are people I connected with out there. And again, every time I even look at this footage, I get so emotional because of how much I loved it there. And I can't wait to go back this August. And I hope, no matter what your background is, no matter what your religion is, but especially if you're a Christian, I hope you get on that flight and head over to Israel because it's the motherland and you will not regret it. Anyways, cousins, thank you for tuning in for another episode of Respectfully. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you soon.